So with the news breaking of Kyrie Irving, demanding that trade, it pretty much shocked everybody. Like, where did that come from? I don't even think LeBron knew, knowing that he's like mysterious as it is. LeBron is mysterious. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. But it was still breaking news to the entire world in regards to Kyrie Irving demanding that trade. And for all the teams that he was demanding to, even though he does not have that luxury to decide where he could end up, but he was demanding to go to the Spurs, the Heat, the Knicks, and the T Wolves. And he did some
So
trades. Fantasy
we
trades.
looked into it and to see what exactly can these teams really offer the Cavs to maybe sweeten the deal and let go of their prized possession, which is Kyrie Irving. And we all looked at those teams he mentioned, and none of them really ever made any real sense.
Yeah.
You're talking about San Antonio, trading for a star player. They don't really do that.
Yeah,
That's not their MO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're more about draft and develop, draft and develop, draft and develop. So, we were like, you know what? We kind of X'd them out. We looked at Miami. There were some a possible deal in place, but you're talking about
Giving
a team.
up a lot.
Yeah, you're talking about a team that may have to gut their roster to get Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to compete, I don't care if the East is weak. If you want to compete, you still need to have a team intact. Timberwolves, which we both agreed we would probably like to see him with that team.
Without giving up,
without necessarily having to give up too many pieces. But again, like we said, contracts weren't adding up, and you're talking about potentially having to give up Andrew Wiggins, maybe Cat, and that you don't do that.
There wasn't a trade that didn't involve.
And they're not gonna retrade Jimmy Butler. Like, you just got him.
Yeah, and you can't until at least December.
And then you're talking about the Knicks, who, I mean, Kyrie, if he really wants to play for the Knicks, I mean, I don't know why. You're talking about an ownership that's so dysfunctional
and horrible.
I mean, they just let go of Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson's only claim to fame was drafting Kristaps Porzingis, which that in itself was, I mean, a 1 in a million shot. Because who knew who that guy was?
Yeah, no one expected that. But see, for me, honestly, I would think I don't like the Knicks, and I have nothing against them. But if you're gonna change the franchise around, Kristaps Porzingis is just one aspect to the change. Kyrie Irving is a complete player that could really change the dynamics of that organization for the better. And the Cavs want something that the Knicks have, and that is Carmelo Anthony. It does work, but you would have to include another team for that to happen, because straight up the contract doesn't work. The salaries are completely different. And I really think the best fit for Kyrie Irving would be the Knicks. What do you think? Do you think the Knicks would be the best fit for them, or it just be?
I mean, if I'm Kyrie right now,
it's the biggest market according to the world. Or
according to Forbes, they're one of the leading franchises as far as money wise.
Yeah, worth $3 billion.
And believe me, we looked at each other like,
one championship.
But it's New York.
Yeah,
we get
that's why, because of the market, because it's New York. But not necessarily because of the fame and fortune and the excitement. Those are the 90s. It's gone. Patrick Ewing is no longer there. It's long gone. But you need someone.
Who did they accomplish in the 90s, though?
Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, as an 8 seed.
I mean,
I think they went to the finals as an 8 seed.
Yeah.
But the Knicks haven't had any real, road to success.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the other franchises out there. So
25-year-old Kyrie with 21-year-old Kristaps Porzingis.
It's a nice 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
But he still has some horrible contracts on the next team that you still need to get rid of.
Joakim
Noah. So
Tim Hardaway, who just got the $70 million. People are looking at him like, if he got $70 million, why can't I get $70 million? Brandon Jennings is still out there. You just mentioned today, Brandon Jennings is still out there.
Gerald Henderson.
Monta Ellis is still out there. There's a lot of good players out there that are looking at, Tim Hardaway.
Those guys are looking at minimum deals, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
because we just saw Rose sign for 2.1 with Cleveland.
It was gonna
and we were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, how was that?
$100 million to $2 million, MVP to we don't know,
6-man, and if he does get traded to starter, and
which he most likely will if Kyrie leaves or gets traded.
Because it's between him and Calderon, and no offense to Calderon, but
he's in the later stages of his career.
Yeah.
But okay, so a couple of scenarios that we pulled out were teams that we would like to see Kyrie, and how we did the structure of it, how the trade would work. Everything worked out perfectly, and these are the teams that would fit in our eyes Kyrie being
Well,
traded to.
it's more of a fantasy type of sense because we know that at this point Cleveland is gonna want a lot, and we keep saying that he's gonna want a lot to part with Kyrie because obviously a disgruntled superstar, he's still gonna want to play. I highly doubt that he's gonna just sit out a season. It doesn't happen in the NBA.
Yeah, and he's not gonna tank his numbers just to like prove a point.
Yeah, that's not Kyrie because then you just destroy your value.
And just your your name, everything that you've built is just gonna go down. Exactly. We know what you're worth, but why are you doing it? Like we get that you're not comfortable and not happy, but why are you gonna ruin
everything you built?
Yeah,
you're throwing away a season.
Anyway, there you go.
So
what's the team? What's your team that you want? Like your fantasy team that you want to see Kyrie traded to?
My scenario was between the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks with Cleveland in the 3-team trade.
Okay.
You're talking about with Phoenix adding trading away Eric Bledsoe, and from New York trading Carmelo Anthony to Cleveland. Kyrie would go to New York, so that New York scenario would still be there. And people would be thinking, wait, Eric Bledsoe's a decent point guard. Why the heck would Phoenix want to trade him to Cleveland? Well, New York has these later draft picks for, I believe, 2019 and 2020 that they would be sending to Phoenix. Phoenix is a young squad with Devin Booker and those guys they have there. Josh Jackson, I believe. So you're talking about giving away Bledsoe, and maybe not the most popular thing for Phoenix, but to get those draft picks to draft even more young guys on that squad and basically salary dump that contract to basically clear that space up now for their future because Devin Booker is going to be out for an extension pretty soon. They now have to think ahead. Mm-hmm. I know Brandon Knight just got his ACL torn as a few days ago, but he's another guy that they're going to have to lean on in their future. So I say that salary dump of Bledsoe going to Cleveland is actually beneficial for Phoenix. Of course, some fans won't see it that way.
In the later stages, or in later years, maybe they can flip
this is me thinking ahead, but I would want to see Eric Bledsoe, J.R. Smith, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Tristan Thompson. Is that enough to take down the Warriors? No, but I give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, it'll probably.
It'll be interesting to see Eric Bledsoe up against Steph Curry.
If he's healthy too.
Of course, I know.
That's a good trade scenario. I mean, the contracts match. Everything was good.
Yeah, everything matched. It was just obviously it just got to convince New York and Phoenix is just about the picks. That's all it really is.
Decent. That's pretty good. And the team that I wanted to, and it's just one player to like straight up, it'll be the Pelicans, and it'll be straight up for DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie. So for me personally, I would love to see Boogie with the Cavs and see what he could do. And then I would love to see even more what Kyrie and Anthony Davis could do, because that to me is probably the best inside-out duo in the league. But the problem with that is there's going to be 3 point guards. They just signed Drew Holiday to an extension. They just signed Rajon Rondo, and they would add Kyrie Irving. So what they would do maybe later on after December or maybe the trade deadline, trade one of the two. I'd love to see Boogie with LeBron James, and I mean, how great would that be? The center they needed, and they've been wanting or needing.
Yeah, someone who can shoot from the outside, a decent clip from the 3-point shot. And you're talking about someone who can bully people on the inside as well.
He plays defense as well, so that's another positive on that. And then someone that really, puts emphasis on the paint. I'm not saying that he's going to be better than the Warriors, but that adds that spacing, that adds more value towards the Cavs. And then even better would be, the New Orleans Pelicans. They would get better with the best inside-out point guard to, what is he, a forward center?
Forward center. And I would think that would make him happier. And now that they would have Kyrie, it would make Anthony Davis now rethink about actually staying with the franchise as opposed to now asking to be leave.
Yeah, it's actually a good thought.
Because, he's been
they're committing to...
Yeah, they're not committing to him long term. And
wanting to build, so it gives them commitment. That gives... Okay, I see your point, yeah.
So, but I like the trade in theory, but on Cleveland's side, I just don't see it happening. You're talking about adding Boogie Cousins with the Cavaliers, so now they're more bigger as far as having Tristan, Kevin Love, and DeMarcus. One of those three have to go. Now you'd have to make a secondary trade because now we're probably talking about now having to trade Kevin Love. But then
Kevin Love is too much of a good ad. I don't think that they move Kevin Love. I think they'll trade Tristan Thompson.
But
and
someone's gonna want like something like in return, a draft pick or something to take that contract off their hands.
Well, yeah, and or maybe there's a contract out there, a salary that can match up. That's reasonable for the Cavs. What about I don't know Bledsoe without?
No, Kyrie? Well, I know, but still, that's the way we had it set up. I don't even know if I can add that to the. I didn't try that yet, where we can add Tristan to that, but. Maybe
maybe it'll work.
Happen.
But honestly, I would find it interesting if I saw DeMarcus Cousins and LeBron James working together with Kevin Love. I mean, it'll be pretty much a big, like they'd be running big.
Yeah, they're running big, and it with this league, the way it's turning into a more of a running gun type of style now. Yeah. I don't think it's enough. I mean, Boogie, what he brings to the table was an outside shot, an inside presence. And LeBron would have now a big to pass into the post, and he doesn't necessarily have to beat up his own body that anymore.
Yeah.
Because LeBron, he's getting up there in age, and he doesn't necessarily want to turn into one of those players where he's hanging out in the post, abusing his body. I see him turning more into a jump shooter, but even then, his jumper is not as reliable as Kobe's mid-range was back in the day, or even Jordan's mid-range was back in the day.
That was one of the worst this season. So.
Yeah, and his catch and shoot, I mean, it's not there. That's not LeBron's game. His game is more of the post, inside. He'll want to bully you, but as your body gets older, how much more punishment can you take?
Yeah, he's getting up there in age. I agree.
So...
Well, definitely a lot of great things are going to happen. We're going to see the Eastern Conference completely change if they were to make a trade, because we know if the Cavaliers, if one wrong move, and that's it for them, because Boston's catching up to them. Then we got Milwaukee coming up.
You got Boston potentially being the king of the conference in a shorter time than even they expected.
Oh, yeah.
You have Milwaukee, a rising team. You have
Jabari Parker, the Greek Freak.
Kid as their coach, who I wasn't really a fan of at first, because he had a horrible stint with it was Dallas, right?
No, he
has a horrible coach for Dallas.
Wasn't he with the Nets? Might have been with the Nets.
Maybe.
I'll check that and I'll edit it on somewhere on here. But I'll let you know, see who it was. But yeah, definitely, there's a lot of teams that are coming up, and LeBron and the Cavs should really tread lightly, because
even Orlando, they see a lot of teams like
young,
that can make they're young teams that can potentially make that rise. So Cleveland's hold on the conference could potentially be gone in one more year. How crazy was that going to be?
It's basically going to come down to who versus the Warriors, unless something drastic happens where Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, all of them get injured and they just like completely blow out. So, with that being said,
I can see that.
With that being said, I'm LAJ with Legendary Sports. This is Young Peter. We're gonna be back next time, and hopefully we'll give you some updates, and hopefully something happens where Kyrie is gone and we finally see what's gonna happen, and we'll get more in depth into that. So we'll see you guys.